So to start working on my vertical grow tower, I start by building the legs first, and here I am measuring out 2 pieces of wood that I found sitting around in our wood pile. You could tell it's worn and sort of old, but I'm working with what we have instead of me running off to the store to buy things, in my opinion, unnecessarily when I have supply sitting in my yard. So looking at what I'm doing, I'm trying to figure out how to cut the legs. I'm just doing this from my mind's eye, and you can see I'm sort of struggling with a circular saw a little bit because I have to cut. Oh, look, I think I almost set the circular saw on fire. There's so much smoke coming from it. I don't want my hubby to see this because he'll probably wonder what the heck I'm doing with his wood shop tools. Okay, so I go out and I start drilling a hole into the bottom of the 55-gallon bucket here, and that is where my drain pipe is going to be, which is also my compost pipe. And here I am attempting to put these legs on, and I cannot get the hole or the drill to go through the hole so that I could attach it to the gallon, 55-gallon. So I'm frustrated, and I am rethinking my plan here. So I have a bolt now with a washer to attach 3 new wood pieces that I cut, and I drilled 2 holes in the lower 1/3 of the leg, and I am just going to drill it straight into the container, and it seems to hold up pretty well. I used a socket wrench to tighten it, and it worked out. Okay, so now you flip over the container, and I'm measuring it from close to the bottom of the container to the top because I have to cut the drainage pipe where I will be putting the earthworms and also my food scraps. The drainage pipe will sit inside the container, and I flip the container over again, and I use plumbing strap, I think that's what it's called, to attach the screw-on adapter that goes at the bottom of the container. It's going to be drilled in with a few screws, and this is the valve is to allow the tea, compost tea, and any soil or material to come through from the bottom of the drain tube, and those nutrients can be used to further throw into your garden. That would be the black gold of your compost that the earthworms have made for you. The valve is now attached, and I am simply applying goop. It's a plumbing goop to the valve to make sure it doesn't leak. Okay, so here's the hard part. Now I have to cut out all the holes which the plants will fit in. I start by drilling a couple of holes, probably about 6 inches apart from each other, and then I use a jigsaw to cut the slot. And then I have to use a heat gun to heat up the plastic so it's pliable enough for me to shove a crowbar in there, and also a 2x4 to keep it in place, to keep the hole open. As you can see, I am using weights to maintain the 2x4 in place, otherwise the hole will close up again. So I'm working with the drainage pipe again, and I'm drilling more holes all around the pipe. Oh, look, my husband brought me pizza for lunch because I work so hard. Yeah. And this is holes for the earthworms to travel in and out freely in the compost garden. Now I'm showing you the bottom of the container where the valve attaches, the screw-on valve. That's where the compost tea will come through. Okay, so this is what I was thinking. In the YouTube videos, you see people making these vertical vegetable compost gardens, these towers, and I'm gonna put a little twist on it. I'm gonna make it into a wicking container also, so you don't have to water the tower as much, and it will ensure that all the water goes down to the very bottom and is by capillary action will be soaked up also through the rest of the levels. Okay, so I'm going to use this PVC tube. I think it's a 1-inch diameter PVC tube, and I'm going to use a milk jug, and I'm going to have 2 holes in it. This is my first hole, which I realize my tube cannot fit in here, so I am going to cut a hole here instead. All right, and in this way it'll go in here, and then for the second hole I have an old dish rag that I'm going to cut in half, feed it through the hole into the tube, into the jug, and then have half of it outside and laying in the soil when I get this whole vertical garden together. Okay, and it'll be like this inside at the very bottom. Okay, this will be hanging out like that. Okay, there will be water in this jug, which you will fill at the very top. They'll go and empty directly into the jug. All right, that's sitting at the bottom. And the rag, which is also sticking out of the jug, will get wet with the water that's inside there, soak up the whole towel, and then it will sit on the soil, and by capillary action, the soil will get moist. Okay, and this is a good way to indirectly water your plants. So that's my twist. Okay, so I just finished filling the vertical garden with almost 3 bags of 2 cubic foot pay dirt soil. Actually, almost a total of 6 cubic feet of soil there that I put inside this container. And there you go, almost filled to the rim. I still got some soil left, but I figured I'd plant some plants first before I even try. And then stepping up here, here's a tube that you could water through that goes straight into that gallon jug that I told you about earlier. And here is also, there you go, it's a drainage pipe where you will put your compost and your earthworms, your red wigglers, which is what I have on order. I should get them in the next 2 days. And there's holes cut out inside for the worms to go in and out as they eat the composted foods and leave their warm compostings inside, and then they could tunnel through to the rest of the garden, leaving their nutrients behind, only to return again to eat more composted food and vegetable scraps, whatever, from the kitchen. All right, so down here we will go. Here is my reservoir. I need to put like a pan here because as the worms compost, they'll leave, my understanding is the worm castings and some liquids will come out, worm tea, they call it. the warm compost tea. And to make it easy, I can open this valve. Oops, wrong way. And whatever falls out will be caught by the bucket that's underneath. Okay, so let's go see if we can get a picture of what's underneath inside this valve. We're gonna take a look. There we go. See? All the way to the top of the vertical garden tower. See all the holes there? So imagine all the compost that's in there that's going to get packed down and turn into nutrient soil, which you could later put into the rest of your garden once it's garden rich. Should be like black soil. Okay, back to put the cover on. Okay, very easy. And then I have my plumber straps, as you can see, surrounding this valve. And I put some plumber's goop around here just to seal up any cracks there may be, but this held it in really well, so I don't have to worry about the pipe falling through or this coming disengaged because of the heat from it being in the sun. Okay? Please note that these two tubes here, this one which goes straight into the milk jug filled with water, that will disperse to the lower levels of the vertical garden here. This will require less watering, I believe. It's called a wicking technique, all right? But if you look at the other vertical garden videos, they don't have this. This is my idea, putting these two together, okay? What you can do here is also put water down this tube to help break down the compost and help the earthworms to digest better and whatnot. So there's two options there. You still could water your plants through here. You should actually do both. And the third one is because when the plants are planted, you do need to still water the external areas of the soil. So I would water all along here as the plants grow, especially when they're young seedlings and they're trying to get established. You need to water them a little bit on the frequent side. Okay? All right.